Are you expecting chaos on Election Day?
No, I don't think so. Not from the side that votes for Trump.
But I'm just wondering if these outside agitators will start up on Election Day. Let's say you win. I mean, let's remember, you've got 50,000 Chinese nationals in this country in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You've got people on the terrorist watch list, 350 in the last couple of years. You've got, like you said, 13,000 murderers and 15,000 rapists.
Right.
What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful Election Day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of Election Day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
Well, you just heard it. The guy running for the presidency, who used to be the president, just said he's going to use American troops on other Americans because he finds them to be the enemy within. He's going to literally order the U.S. military against an entire body of law that we adopted after the Civil War called the Posse Comitatus Act to prevent exactly that, the threat of use of U.S. troops against Americans on U.S. soil. He's going to suspend the Posse Comitatus Act, turn the tanks' turrets towards Americans because he finds them to be the enemy of the people. And just in case we think he misspoke or he tries to walk it back, he got tongue-tied, he was tired during the interview with Maria Bartiromo, he couldn't possibly have meant American citizens. For those at home making personal exceptions for themselves, he didn't mean me. He clarified it by giving an example of somebody he considered to be an enemy within. And it was a U.S. Democratic congressperson who's running for the Senate, Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is an example of somebody that Donald Trump would put into internment camps, in concentration camps around America using U.S. troops. You just heard it. I'm not making this up. I'm not AI. He's not even I, let alone AI. But Donald Trump just said it out loud. Now, this whole week, in the last 48 hours, we've been reporting on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF and on our new YouTube channel, Legal AF MTN, we're doing together, that Donald Trump is thrown around. Somebody is whispering like an earworm in Donald Trump's brain for the dark recesses of our U.S. Constitution and U.S. history. So Donald Trump, all of a sudden, somebody who can't even stay awake for his daily presidential briefings, is suddenly an expert on all of the laws from our Civil War period and other dark ages, right? For instance, 2 days ago, I did a hot take that he started talking about using the Alien Enemies Act, part of the Alien Sedition Act. It's only been used 3 times, only during war. There has to be a war. So Donald Trump says, I got an idea. I'll declare a war. The war is the enemy within. The war is the siege and the predatory incursion by who? By illegal immigrants that are murderous, that are killing our children and eating our pets. And I'm now a war president. I don't have to wait for the War Act to be passed by Congress, a declaration of war. I'll do it now with the Alien Enemies Act, and I'll put them in internment camps. He's big on this internment camp thing. That's a solution for everything for Donald Trump. So this happens, concentration camp. And he's doing it again. I just did a whole analysis as to how he can't use, because it's not wartime, he can't use the Alien Enemies Act to jail, suspend habeas corpus so people don't see the light of a courtroom and sit in a dark, dank cell without due process. He can't do that by declaring that the 11 million illegal or legal aliens or people that have come to this country hiding in plain sight, working and paying taxes, are suddenly an enemy incursion that has to be dealt with by the commander-in-chief by suspending the Constitution. And yet, here we are. Fast forward, not even that far, less than 36 hours later, he decided, well, that went over pretty well with the American people. Let me do another trial balloon. This one is, let me call in a random interview, since it's on his brain, right? Since Stephen Miller and others and Jeff Clark and others planted this seed in his brain, now it's all he can think about. It's like a guy who's hungry. He can only think about a Big Mac all day. Now Donald Trump thinks about insurrection, suspending martial law, creating concentration camps, putting American citizens in internment camps and calling them the enemy within. He's in this interview with Maria Bartiromo. It's completely consistent with what he said at a campaign stop, except now in substitute for the Alien Enemies Act, substitute his failure to understand that we have something called the Posse Comitatus Act. Now, the Posse Comitatus was a group of civilians that got together in a posse to go, do a frontier justice, if you will. And it came out of, and it got passed in the 1870s out of our Reconstruction period, another relatively dark period after the Civil War. Mainly black, newly freed slaves, now black Americans, were getting their ass kicked and worse and murdered and hanged by, white Americans. And in the South, they wanted to keep Jim Crow law to keep the black American down. Even though he had been newly freed, he wasn't going to be able to vote or be educated. He had to pay a poll tax. He was kept in ghettos and not allowed to be a full-blown equal protection American. And so the federal government didn't want to be, post-Abraham Lincoln, didn't want to be in a situation where they were using federal troops to enforce local law and civil disobedience against local law like the Jim Crow law. So they invented the Posse Comitatus Act, which outlawed Posse Comitatuses. You can't use American troops against Americans on American soil, idiot, dumbass, unless you suspend the Constitution during time of martial law. I guess that's his next step. He's flirted with this dictatorship and suspension of constitutional rights before on more than one occasion. He met 4 years ago in December with a bunch of insurrectionists, and they decided to draft an executive order to seize voting machines and declare martial law. They have talked about using the Insurrection Act to suppress and make China's Tiananmen Square look like kindergarten, right? Look like an arts and crafts class during preschool. To use the might and the weight of the American military to crush First Amendment dissent in the streets. So as a kid, I loved eating cereal. But as an adult, I don't want all that sugar, and most cereals don't give me the protein I need. Then I found Magic Spoon, a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like my childhood favorites, but without the sugar and with a ton of protein. And if you're already a Magic Spoon fan, I got big news. Magic Spoon has turned their super popular cereal into high-protein treats that are light, crispy, and taste just like those classic crunchy cereal bars. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are so delicious, they've already become my favorite before and after gym snack. Every serving of Magic Spoon cereal has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. The most popular flavors are fruity and cocoa, and there's so many more. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are crispy, crunchy, airy, and an easy way to get 11 grams of protein on the go. And for the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. My favorite is Magic Spoon's chocolatey peanut butter treats. And by the way, they're my wife's favorite too. They're our favorite late night snack. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/legalaf or look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/legalaf for $5 off. Magic Spoon, hold on to the dream. This doesn't scare the crap out of people, and I'm tired of reading, as I did in the New York Times, in the normalization of Donald Trump, that a lot of voters for Donald Trump don't think he'll do the worst things that he said. Oh, he's just joshing. He's kidding. He's kidding when he says he's going to suspend the Constitution, jail his political enemies, including the press, the Democratic Party, the members of the Department of Justice and FBI who have prosecuted him, and Joe Biden and others, and maybe podcasters. He's just joshing. You don't know. He's just got a sick sense of humor. Really? Is that what they said about, the guy with the little mustache, the little short painter from Austria with a little mustache? Is that what they said? He's got a tremendous sense of humor. He's not going to do all those things. Poland, you're safe. Really? Or do we take him at his word? Why do I have to know? I've been practicing law for 32 years. I'm sure it got covered sometime in law school. But why do I have to know so well the Posse Comitatus Act, the Insurrection Act, the Alien Enemies Act, martial law? Why do I need to know that? I need to know it so I can bring it here at the intersection of law and politics where Legal AF MTN. But really, these are the guardrails. Some of what I've described in this hot take are going to be used to rein in Donald Trump, right? By Congress, by the separation of powers. But you see, he blows through all the guardrails. And some of the things I just recited, like the Alien Sedition Act, an Alien Enemies Act, and the Insurrection Act, and martial law are going to be used by Donald Trump if he gets into power. Those people that are on the fence, I don't know who you are. I'm talking to you now. The 5%ers, you know, the independents that apparently watch Fox News because that's why Kamala Harris is going over there. I'm talking to you now. I'm imploring you. This is a megalomaniacal dictator madman who you're thinking about voting for, who's threatening to use all sorts of powers against America on American soil. And I'm not totally confident that the American criminal justice and constitutional justice system is strong enough to withhold another Donald Trump. Let me repeat that. We have guardrails. They are dented and bruised from the first Donald Trump. This one, which I like to call T2, much like the other movie. And we don't have a T1 to take out T2 like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. T2 is more potent, more deadly, more lethal, more prepped, and more prepared than he was before. And I'm not quite sure or confident that this United States Supreme Court, headed by one Chief Justice Roberts, is going to, I don't want to count on that being the firewall to protect our democracy, rule of law, constitutional republic. So let's not test this theory. Let's not test this hypothetical. Let's not all learn together if the Posse Comitatus Act is going to stop Donald Trump dead in his tracks. Let's not learn together whether the Insurrection Act can be used against Americans by a president when there's no war going on. Let's not find out. Let's not go down that road and have to learn and put it through the test all the way to the United States Supreme Court, whether he can declare that the Alien Enemies Act applies to 11 million immigrants already living in this country. I'd rather not. Even the curious person within me don't want to find out how these laws will actually be applied in the real world and not in some theoretical, practice exercise in a law school class. I got to bring it to you right here. When I saw this one, I was like, guys, I got to get on the air with this particular hot take. It's that important to me and to what we're doing here on Legal AF and on MTN. If you like what we're doing, there's a couple of ways to support it. MeidasTouch, click, subscribe. And we got a brand new channel. We're bursting at the seams with law and politics analysis and commentary. We got to spread our wings. So Legal AF and MeidasTouch got together and said, this is my artist rendering. Let's get a new channel up and running. What do you think it should be called? I have an idea. Legal AF MTN for MeidasTouch Network. Let's do it. And we did it 26 days ago. And how are we doing? 200,000 subscribers in 26 days. I don't know if that's a record, but it definitely blew my doors out. And we're on our way to 250,000 by Halloween because of you, not me. I'm doing my part. I'm just the chief curator for the channel. But you're doing your part and you're showing up. You're showing up for it. We'll provide the receipts and the analysis. You show up for it. That's the way. That's our transaction. Was that a deal? Okay. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.